Have you ever surfed on a nude beach that's hundreds of miles from the ocean? You'll find it within the city walls of Munich, Germany. Check it out.
You're listening to Travel FOMO, a podcast for people self-diagnosed with wanderlust. Welcome to Travel FOMO. I'm Hilarie Houghton, and I'm here with my increasingly handsome husband, Jamin.
What's up?
Jamin, what do you think about the secret season that we're doing right now?
It's been awesome. If you're
You better
listening
say
to this,
that.
No, it has been. It's been really cool to hear you and your sister, Jessica Giles, reminisce about the backpacking trip that you guys took in college. So back, in 2005.
Yeah.
It's been really cool to hear your stories, and I know that really kind of sparked your love of travel. I know a lot of the times you were convincing me that I should travel and that we should travel together. A lot of those stories were from this trip.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to hear you guys talk about it.
Yeah, it really is the secret behind why I love to travel, and everything seemed to have started with this trip. And I really hope that our listeners are getting a kick out of it. And if you are, take a second to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast from wherever you are listening.
So in this episode, you and your sister are going to tell us of your time in Germany.
That's right.
And we have a little bonus. We have actual audio clips from you guys when you were there in Germany. Not only do we have the interview, but we have audio clips from 2005 when you guys were together in Germany.
Yeah. Let's start with that. They're like the three little cherries on top, but we're going to go ahead and start with those. Let's take a listen to the first one.
Cool.
Sunday, May 15th. Jessica and we just arrived in Berlin, and we're staying at Generator Hostel, and Generator Berlin, and it is amazing. It is a huge, huge building, full of rooms, kind of like dorm rooms for people to stay in. It's amazing. It's really modern looking and really bright colors everywhere, and silver stuff. All of the furniture is made out of silver, and there's elevators and lockers and everything. And downstairs is a place for everyone to hang out. It's crazy. And I'll let Jessica tell you about how hard it was to get here. This morning we left Belgium, beautiful Belgium. We left Belgium for Amsterdam, and then we went to Haarlem and went to go see Corrie ten Boom's house, and that didn't work out because it was closed because it was a Sunday. And so then we went back to Amsterdam to go to the Anne Frank house, and we had to wait in line for about 30 or 45 minutes, maybe, something like that, maybe. And had to pay for that, and it usually takes an hour, and we literally had to rush it. I think we got out in 15 minutes, and because we had a train to catch it at 3, and so we were booking it really, really bad. And so anyway, and we accidentally did not realize that you can't bring pictures or cameras in there, so we got pictures of the secret hiding place, or not the hiding place, but the secret room or whatever that they stayed in. And so anyway, so that's kind of cool. And so, then we took a 6-hour train here to Berlin, and we were so happy that we finally got here, and it took forever because once we had to take a bus to actually get to the street that the generator is on, and then we had to walk to find the generator on this big street, and that was a fiasco because it's nighttime and there's just kind of ghetto. And anyway, so we were just really happy to be here. Yeah, and while we were in Amsterdam, we met a girl named Serena, and she's hopping the same train and everything to Berlin, staying in the same exact hostel. So we got to walk with her to find the hostel, and then we met another girl who's looking for the hostel. So there's 4 of us trekking around Berlin trying to look for our hostel, and the other girl's name was Anna. And anyway, it was really cool though. It was fun to meet all these different people and everything. It's been crazy. So that's it. Bye. We're about to go have some fun. So see you later. Bye.
So you guys are navigating your third country, third language in as many days, and you run into people that are staying at the same place that you are. How did you know that they were staying at the same place?
It's crazy. You just see somebody with a backpack. And this was actually, what was this? Our fourth country? Yeah. We'd been England, France, Netherlands. And you heard us talk about the Netherlands. So if our listeners didn't get to catch that episode, they can go back and listen to it. And then now we're in Germany. And I will just say something about that. It's really easy to start a conversation with another fellow backpacker because you stick out, because you're both wearing huge backpacks everywhere you go. So it's pretty obvious in most cases, especially at a train station. You're literally going to another country probably. And so that was one of the things that would just, and then if you see somebody alone, especially a girl, us being two girls, it was really easy to start conversations with other females. And it was kind of like we just started bringing everybody into the fold. And before you know it, there's 4 of us in a taxi on our way to a hostel in Berlin. And so I look back at that and we were all a little nervous. And I don't know if we were in a taxi or a bus or what, but we were all a little nervous. It was dark and some of Berlin doesn't really look all that awesome. It looks a little dicey. And so we were all glad to be in a group. And while you might not know somebody, you definitely can feel a little bit of protection in numbers. And so that was really nice. Dark during the middle of a real dark night. So yeah.
Using the buddy system.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear the next clip.
Okay.
Yesterday was Sunday, May 16th, and it was day 8, and Ox. And anyway, it was an okay day. We kind of slept in a little bit, went on this walking tour that was free, and saw a little bit of Berlin, came back and slept for 4 hours, which was beautiful. And then what did we do? Got on the internet. Yeah, I got on the internet and pampered ourselves. Yeah, took showers, and beautiful showers that were all nice and clean, and pretty much that was all we did. We didn't go out and see Berlin at all. Pretty much the tour, that was it. So we haven't really been all that intrigued about Berlin, but we're okay with it. We're ready to get on somewhere else. So anyway, I guess we'll see y'all later. Bye.
So it sounds like we were really productive that day.
Yeah, a lot done.
Got a lot done. Saw a lot of Berlin. No, it's really funny, but you got to work in those rest days sometimes.
You just got to get on the internet.
That's right. Okay, well, we've got one more clip, so we'll just go right to it.
Cool.
Day 9, Tuesday, May 17th. We are at Berlin, someplace in Berlin, Ostbahnhof. It's the train station, and we are stuck waiting. We hate it. We literally hate Berlin, and we have been stuck since 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, waiting for our trains. And as soon as we get on the train, we have to get off within 15 minutes because we either got on the wrong one or it's going the wrong direction or whatever. It's just nothing is clear, and all the names sound the same. You might as well say Ausgang is the same as Austin, Bahnhof, Jaeger, Shiner, I don't care. Donka. And it's just stupid. We hate it, and nothing's clear, and none of the signs, none of the trains have the right numbers on them. And we even, one of our trains, we even sat right at our platform waiting, and we watched it. We were standing there looking at it, and it had the wrong number, and it had the wrong little letter code for it. But here's our train, so we gotta go by.
Wow.
Whoa. So did you make it on the train that we had to stop and run to?
I don't remember. That was a really long, hard day, and based on what I remember from that day, it took us a really long time. It was a whole day of being in train stations. So there's no telling if we actually got that train or not.
Knowing your family and you and Jessica and really all of you that grew up in that house together, and even some of your extended family, you guys definitely want to experience as much as possible your to the very last drop of everything. So, but on a long trip like this, you have to have rest days, and you and Jessica were wiped out one day, and so How do you feel about rest days?
Yeah, well, we definitely have a fear of missing out. FOMO. Literally, that's kind of where we got the name of this podcast is, just the joke that my family has fear of missing out. It really can be easy to think that you're missing out, but rest time could still be time that you get to experience the culture. And so some of the ways I think about doing that is like the times we may have sat in a park or did some people watching, or we got coffee at a cafe, or even the times that you and I have traveled and we'll go for a run. And we're just doing the things that are going to keep us healthy, and you have to do it to function. But when you do it, you're still experiencing it there. So it's still like a cultural experience. And so I don't feel like you're ever really missing out so long as you are just trying to embrace the culture while you're resting, I guess you could say.
Gotcha. So do normal life, but immerse yourself into the culture so that you still are getting an experience in the midst of doing some of the normal stuff that you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, should we jump into the interview clip of my sister and I kind of really taking people through this journey?
Let her rip, Tater Chip.
Okay. Jessica, what do you remember your first impression of Berlin?
I wish I could say that it was like, well, okay, we came in at night. So my night impression, I don't know, because you can't see a lot. I just remember seeing our hostel and being like super relieved, like, this looks amazing. And it was amazing. And especially given the rest of the city, the rest of the city was pretty, I felt like it was kind of an economic downturn. It seemed like it was, or descending economically. So that was kind of like hard to see. I guess I didn't maybe expect that. I didn't know what to expect.
I didn't remember that. You got a good memory.
Well, I also wrote it down, but it did, I do remember just, I don't know, you see a lot of graffiti, and you see, now granted, I mean, you're going to see that in big cities too, or in other places, but I just remember it being kind of, maybe it was just where we were, who knows, but it was kind of ghetto and kind of dirty. It made me kind of sad for Berlin, because I didn't realize that it was not prospering as well as I just had assumed it was. It's a big city, so I just assumed that it was doing fine. But we did get to go on a tour though, and so it was a free tour of Berlin, and getting to see some different things to learn about the history.
It was long, and there was a ton
that
we got out of this
4 hours
tour. Like 4 hours.
Yeah. I was like, that's kind of impressive. But we got to obviously see different buildings throughout the city, and they had, I don't know if, I can't remember names of specific places, but obviously got to see some memorials of World War II and stuff like that, and learn about the history, additional history, and the Berlin Wall, actually getting to go see that, and which is just wild to me, separating a country literally by a wall.
Right.
That's wow, that's, imagine having people on the other side. And that was you could actually see holes through the wall, and you could see that, oh, okay, there would have been people maybe on the other side of that wall, your loved ones maybe on the other side of that wall. It's wild.
Yeah, there was a ton of history. I do remember that tour being really powerful. And I remember them taking us to a place where they stopped, and it was this big courtyard, and he was describing to us that this was a location where they had burned a bunch of books. And I don't think it was necessarily the Bible, but I just remember being super offended that somebody would be burning books like that. And it was just this remarkable moment, and it was really interesting to hear German history through the eyes of German, which isn't necessarily the same way the rest of the world remembers and documents things.
Yeah. That's so true.
Interesting. Yeah. I do remember there being a lot of ghetto, arriving late at night. And somehow along the way, we had met up with, we'd met a girl from Florida and then another girl. And so we were kind of making our way to the hostel together. but it was like a trek, and it was dark, and it was not the best area.
Yeah.
And
We were grateful to have the other people,
Yes,
you know,
for
like,
sure.
that's
But the
comforting.
hostel itself was amazing, and it's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
The name was Generator Berlin, and
Hmm.
highly recommended. At the time, it was one of the top 10 hostels in the world, which is
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
Way to go, Berlin. Good
I
job.
know, right? Yeah. And it was just super modern. The rooms were bright colors, and the doors and the hallways, everything was like yellow and blue
Fun.
and red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Energetic.
It was just really well done. And everything was like, it felt like a lot of stainless steel. Even nowadays, we would consider it to be a very modern vibe. And that was 15 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
They were like really ahead of the curve for sure. But and I just remember it felt very clean, which we've mentioned this several times in these episodes. If something was clean, we really got excited about it. But when you're traveling for days and days and you don't know if the next place you lay your head is really going to feel safe and clean, it really matters
It
when it
matters.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote that down in my journal, that I took a lovely hot 45-minute shower, which is probably rude because I probably took away someone else's water in that big building, but hopefully there was enough for everyone. But I mean, and just how wonderful it was to like enjoy a clean hostel and a hot shower. I put that hot all caps because apparently we obviously had other ones that did not.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
so, maybe not even warm, you know.
It was a big deal to have a hot shower for
It
sure.
was.
And then there's like a really modern bar downstairs, and they had the internet in this hostel, which we thought was like a pretty big deal because at the
It was
time,
a big deal. It was a big
yeah,
deal.
the internet
I mean, you'd
wasn't
have
like
to-
super reliable in America, but then especially in Europe, it was like you had to find a
Yeah.
cafe and pay money and even put a coin in a machine so you could use the internet. It was crazy.
And you couldn't, you might not even be able to use your money, American money. You'd have to use whatever coins money they had. Make sure, I don't know. I can't remember. I want to say one of them took dimes. I can't remember if it took American money or not, but just, you know, very specific in some places.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you're going to get a good internet experience out of that,
Yeah,
whatever you do pay for, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was, I do believe I think I saw in my notes, it was like €2 to spend 30 minutes on the internet. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, there was a lot to see and do in the city though. It was Berlin was a pretty cool city. I don't necessarily I made some notes that I didn't get like a really great vibe from the people necessarily, but the Americans we met were amazing. And and I think we just really didn't get a lot of opportunities to maybe meet a ton of Germans either while we were there. But
that's probably true. But yeah. We had very I'd be curious to know if like the reason for that, like if there was a true, not like, I don't know. You know, I mean, like, because Germany does have like kind of a rough history, and is that part of it, that they know tourists are coming, and maybe tourists come with like a negative view of Germany anyway, so then they're having to totally defend their country in present day.
Yeah,
you know, they're already on the defensive before they even like meet you, you know, and you're like,
yeah,
I know, like, I can't hold you responsible for what happened 50, 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
interesting to know. I did get my first drink in Berlin.
Oh, is that where it was?
That's where it was. I
vaguely remember us like sitting down at that bar and meeting some people and having a fancy drink.
I had a Beck's Green Lemon is apparently what I had, and it tasted good. Better than your German beer. Your legit German beer. It's probably like really good beer, but I just didn't like beer back then. When I tasted it, I was like, nope, that's not my cup of tea. This other fruity drink tastes better.
Right, exactly. Give me some rum.
That's funny.
I remember we also like had some of the best street food in Berlin at night. Yes.
Random. Kebabs, or what do you call them? I don't. We always called them kebabs. I feel like, is that what they were called?
I think mine was. I think I actually had a gyro.
That's what I have always I wrote down that they called it like a kebab, but which I'm
But
like,
it looked more
that's
like
not what we call it. But what I was referring to in saying that was this amazing Euro style kind of gyro. I mean, I guess that's what I would just, but I thought they had a different word for it there. I don't know if it
yeah,
was.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right. But it was really great lamb meat. I remember
It was
being like,
good. It was good.
this is
I think that
crazy.
was the first time I'd ever had a gyro.
Mm,
Gyro, if I'm saying it right, gyro.
yeah.
The GYRO word. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what we're talking about, guys.
That's what we're talking about.
Bear
And
with us.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
just-
It was really good. They had all kinds of stuff in it though. Like, I feel like it was more than even what, it wasn't just lamb meat and like
the
cabbage or
fixins,
lettuce or
regular
whatever. It was like there was more stuff that they put in it. Like, he even got a picture of it. I can't remember. But it had
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff in it. It was delicious.
It really was, and I really have not had another one like that since then.
I haven't either. And I've
No, I've
wondered,
always
like,
wondered.
could we ever find, would we ever find another one that's similar to that?
Yeah.
Or do we have to go back to Berlin? Maybe.
I think we got to go back.
Oh, what a shame. I'll have to go back and travel some more.
Do you remember like the street lights? Like they were really different. Like there would be little men. Like you know how we have little we also have men. Like if you were to hit the button to cross the street, and you're waiting for the light to change, you know, it'll show you like, you know, stop or, you know, walk or don't walk. Well, in Germany, it was like a little red man and he had like a little hat on and then like the little green guy whenever it was time to walk, and he was like, it was just cute. I just remember thinking like, oh, that's so different. Even though it's similar, it's still really pretty different from what that looks like in America. It's kind of fun.
That's funny. I loved those little things. I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure I probably saw it at the time where you pointed it out, but I loved that about all the countries that we went to. Like there would just be different ways of doing things, whether it was how a door is opened or how the light switch, you flip the light switch up to turn the light off instead of turning it down, you know, like everything's backwards. Or I just thought, man, the ingenuity of humans and how each culture like brings their own stuff to the table. So cool.
Right?
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I like that. And it's part of what makes it so great. But yeah, Munich. What did you think about Munich?
I liked it. It was I don't know. It was more alive, I feel like, than Berlin was. It was a lot more festive, a lot more active people stuff. I mean, not that there weren't people in Berlin, there were obviously, but I felt like there was a lot more like healthy culture. Like, I don't know if that's the right wording maybe, but it was they had like a river in the middle of Munich where we could like, well, apparently like walk around naked. I didn't know that was an option, but like,
that's right.
saw that nude dude. We're like, oh, it's the middle of the
Nude
park.
Beach, middle of the city. Okay,
middle of the city. Didn't realize
yourself.
that was an option. Yeah, but I really liked our hostel there. Jaeger's hostel was really cool, and then and in that park where the river was, like, didn't it like go, the river went, obviously there was like bridges, so there was this one bridge where the current like really, it was really strong while it went under this bridge, and people would literally surf the current at that bridge, like right before the water went under the bridge. They would like be surfing it in the middle of the city. I just thought, how fun is that?
We just watched that forever too. That was so cool.
We did.
That was really fun.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And I just remember people seemed really friendly in Munich.
Yeah.
It just felt, it felt, it was a lot warmer than Berlin too.
Mm-hmm.
And there was great service. And, I remember the train station was really, or I guess I should say the hostel was convenient to the train station. And that was a really nice perk. Like literally you just kind of walk down the street and you're right there. And they
all
let
these
us
little
check in
things that
early.
come into play.
Yeah.
All the little things that come into play when you walk everywhere.
Yeah. When you're walking with everything on your back.
Yes. With all your possessions for the next month.
Yeah. And that hostel was interesting because there were a lot of rooms that we've had where it was like a private room or a room with like 20 people, but this was like, it's like each room was a cubby hole. It was like it was 3 walls and it opened up to a hallway where you would just walk to the next cubby hole with the next 10 people. And so it was just like this ongoing big room in a way, which was a little different, because
It
you
was
could kind of,
different.
do you remember that?
I just remember it feeling like a big room of beds, but
Yeah.
I can see what you mean by like them maybe being like little cubbies, but yeah, that it was like, that's a lot of beds. This is a big room. And yes, it was like you like walked on one, it felt like you walked on one side of, I don't know if you'd call it a hallway or what, or if it was like, in my mind, I don't know, if I kind of thought of it as like just one side of the room, but it was just like, you just walk and there's just like beds.
Yep. Beds. Yep. Yeah. And then, so our first day when we arrived, I just remember I was like really pleased with the hostel because they, as soon as they had beds ready for us, they let us check in early and take a nap. And we really and then we went off to the Dachau concentration camp outside of Munich, and that was really powerful.
Yeah,
that was like, I would definitely hit up more concentration camps, although sadly it feels like kind of the same story everywhere. It's still like, it's a big part of history. It's a big part of honoring the people who have come before us and who suffered a lot. And so, yeah, I would just, our mom always taught us to really understand what happened in World War II and to appreciate all the efforts that went into freedom, you know?
Yeah.
And man, I do remember being in Munich and even being at the concentration camp and thinking, sunshine. There's sunshine, and we have been in a lot of rain and it's been cold. And I think we'd just come from Austria at that point because we kind of bounced around a little. But yeah. And then the Eurail pass, I don't know if you remember this, but it worked inside. So we had it and it would get us to different countries. But sometimes you'd get to a city and it would work inside the city too. So you didn't have to even buy more passes for the local rail system. And I remember thinking that was really smart about Munich. It was pretty cool.
That is really smart.
Yeah.
It's very smart.
But
yeah, I definitely would say that like between the two, if you had to pick between Berlin and Munich at that time, granted, I don't know how it's changed in 15 years, but I would definitely love to go back to Munich. Like, yeah. I think that would be fun. It felt like I said, it just like you said that at one point, you said it was warmer, and it was funny because it was right as we were transitioning from like the people, like the feel of the people and the vibes we got, and like the climate itself. And so it was like warmer both in personality and people and literally temperature. But yeah, it was nice. It felt very cultural. It felt very alive. You just felt like you were part of the German culture at that moment. Well, I felt more like we were experiencing the German culture and like their warmth. Let me use the right word there, because I feel like every culture has that. Like, you can't, we can't just look at Berlin and like say, okay, well, that we didn't have like the most exciting experience there. It doesn't represent all of Germany and all the people by any means. And so Munich was like really refreshing in that we're like, yes, this is what we expected. Like, this is the German culture and like heart that we were expecting to like get to feel and experience. So it was cool.
Yeah, for sure. And
we are German.
We are German.
So that helps. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember going to see a German movie?
Yes, I loved that. Was that in Munich? That was probably in Munich. Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh, Barfuß. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Barefoot. They made an American movie of it, a movie in English called Barefoot. Yeah. And it's a cute little movie in English as well. But I loved how we were able to follow most of it. I mean, there were not English subtitles, people. It was all in German. And so like the rest of the theater would laugh at inside jokes that we didn't get because we didn't catch the German. Like, you know, we didn't catch what happened in that moment. So we had to follow a lot of cues and body language and like pick up German from whatever we learned from like, you know, elementary school.
Yeah.
But it was cute and
It
fun
really
experience.
was
I would do that again. I would do that again.
I ended up finding the soundtrack for it too. And like that next day I like bought the soundtrack, and I don't remember that soundtrack, but I need to go back and like find it on Spotify. I bet I could find it on Spotify now.
There's some really good songs. Like if I heard some of the songs right now, I would be like, yes, that was the song. Yeah, that. There were some really good songs.
Were they English songs?
I think there were probably some, but I really don't remember. I think there were a lot in German. I think they're mostly in German.
Yeah, it was a good soundtrack though. I remember that. And that was also the same night we came back. That I would totally do that again, by the way. That was one of the highlights for me of Germany, was going to a movie in another language, which sounds like, I don't know that everybody would like
absurd.
That, but yeah, but it was just so fun to try to figure out what was going on. And you really could, you'd be surprised how much you can understand a movie in another language. And it's also,
we were lucky that we got a good movie too. It was like an upbeat, like happy movie to watch where there's laughter happening all around you with people you don't know. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
But
was
glad
really
it wasn't
cool.
a sad one.
I would totally do that again for sure though. Yeah. And then that night though, that was a weird experience at the hostel that night, because like at 4:30 a.m. some guy and girl come in, and granted, like remember this big room, tons and tons of beds, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but like I was really frustrated. I wrote about it in my journal for a couple pages, so I can tell you how frustrated I was that they woke me up at 4:30 a.m. But the girl was like anti-American, and she kept talking about, and she obviously didn't know this guy very good, because she goes, "Wait, are you American?" So it's like, okay,
goodness.
They don't know each other very well. They're crawling in the same bed together. And they're all
my goodness.
Happen.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
it's crazy.
That is crazy. Wow.
Yeah. And at some point, like he was coming on to her, and it was a situation of like, oh my gosh, are one of us going to have to like wake up and be like, no, she said no. No means no. You got to like get in your bed, guy. But it was it's just weird. I'm not used to traveling and hearing people experience their travels beside me, you know, whatever that might look
in a
like.
very intimate way.
Yeah. Oh, and then I made a note of this in my journal that after that I had weird dreams, and I dreamed that I was drunk and naked and I ran into mom and dad.
Oh my gosh. For real. Oh dear mercy.
I don't remember the dream, but apparently it was real and I wrote it down. So funny.
That is funny.
Is that the story?
Nightmares.
You brought up that story, right? Was that the one you were thinking of?
Of them like making out, or yeah.
But
from a previous episode we talked about. Yeah. I think this is the one story.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then the next day we went shopping.
Yeah, we did. Got me a haircut.
You got a haircut. Talk about that. That was so fun. It was such an interesting thing to do while traveling.
It was. I don't know why. It was just my hair. So I've always had long hair. Well, at least at that time I did. Grew up, had long hair. But it was like just long. Like it wasn't layered or anything fancy to it, you know, and just long and straight. And I was like, you know what? I need more body to this hair. I need to like liven it up a bit. And so, I don't know. I feel like it turned out good. She must have spoke English. Praise God.
Guy.
Okay. I'm like, I don't even remember who did it, but like, I really just assumed that they knew what they were doing. And like, we're taking all these pictures. That's probably what prompted it. I'm like, oh gosh, look at my hair in some of these pictures. I'm like, I need to fix my hair. And so, but yeah, that was fun. And I got some really great pictures up for that haircut. So
yeah, you really did. It looked really good. And I was sitting there journaling in the salon while you were getting your hair done. And I noted that it was just a lot of waving hands and hand motions, and because there was a language barrier, and it was like,
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
so
Oh,
funny.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I love
I
it.
can't believe I
though.
don't remember actually getting the cut. That's insane. I remember, like, obviously I got my hair cut, but I don't remember the actual experience of getting it. But I love that you do. It's helpful.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
that's funny. I can remember the salon.
Now that you say that it was the guy, I'm like, I think that I mean that sounds right in the sense that, like, I know I've had my hair done by a guy, but I can't recall any other time. So it would have had to have been that time.
We went shopping. I bought that soundtrack from that movie that we saw, which was really cool that it was even available to buy. And that was around the time
And
of CDs, guys. So we had a Discman that we brought with us. So when
oh
we
yeah.
stopped to buy batteries or something, it was for our Discman or our camera. Things weren't as rechargeable back then.
Yeah. And it worked. Like, your CD worked in your stereo or in your Walkman, right? Your
I'm
CD
pretty
player.
sure.
That's awesome, because I remember buying, I'm almost positive that I bought it there. I bought The Ring on DVD, The Ring, like the scary movie, on DVD in German. I was so excited because back then I would watch movies. I loved languages, so I would sometimes go to bed watching movies in other languages, so that it just helped kind of keep. But I had, like, French and Spanish and Chinese and other ones, but I didn't have anything in German. And so I was really excited about, this is like, I mean, I don't know that I would want to watch that movie in another one. That'd be freaky, but I don't know why I opted for that one. But at least I'd already seen it at that point. But I got home and it only worked in, like, it did not work in my stereo because it was an American stereo. Like, there's different DVD players work differently in different, like you had to have a DVD player that was made for, like, the region of Germany, like Europe. And so it wasn't compatible with, I was like, what? It was a DVD, but it wasn't compatible with my DVD player. So I was pretty heartbroken, but
that was fun, though. We also went to Pizza Hut that day. I don't know why we did that.
We probably like German food. Did we like a lot of the German food? Even though we're German, I don't feel like I have such a heart for German food.
Yeah, I think I would appreciate it a lot more now. I think I would go back and make myself eat all of the authentic foods. But I think at the time we were just hungry for something we really wanted, maybe.
Maybe. I mean, did we not eat? We at least ate some German food, right? We may not have made it all our meals, but
I would like to think so.
I think probably at some point we were just like, all right, I'm good with sausage, like, or no more brats, like no more coleslaw or something, sauerkraut. I want, like, marinara, and cheese and bread.
Exactly, cheese and bread. Hello,
cheese and bread. Yeah.
Well, and then you mentioned that English garden. That was like kind of wrapping up our trip. There was we went to the English Garden, which is in the middle of Munich, and it's literally like the biggest park in any metroplex in Europe, at least at the time it was. And it's got several different rivers that run through it. Like you were saying, people could surf in the tide of these rivers. There was a nude beach in the middle. I think there might have been several nude beaches. I think we were only on the edge of that. And
probably started.
It was really crazy.
Turn around.
It was beautiful too. It was so beautiful. There were, like, swans in the river and all kinds of stuff. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, very flourishing. I loved it. I would go back. For sure.
Yeah, me too. And I love that Munich is the southern part of Germany, and you can really hit up a lot of countries if you hit that part of Germany. You could also hit up Austria and Switzerland and Italy, and so that's kind of nice. But what was your favorite memory there in Germany in general?
Germany in general, probably the English gardens. I mean, it's so funny to me that some of these places are like just outdoorsy, naturey places that you wouldn't, it's not like a particular building or museum or anything. It's just like soaking in the whole vibe of Munich, seeing the people like that is, I don't know, something about it. Like it's like endearing almost in a way to see people just having so much like fun and laughter and like it's just like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
and sun shining and this beautiful garden, like paradise. Like, you wouldn't want to like just chill here. I could do that.
Exactly. Yeah, I really liked that too. And like, I mean, honestly, going to the movies was one of my favorite memories.
Yeah. That would probably be my first, like, do it again. Like, I mean, because obviously we would do the gardens, but definitely I would go back and see a movie. Like, and probably again, like, even if it had the option, I don't know, nowadays they have like, do you want the 3D option or do you want this option? If they had an option with the English words, I still think I would go without the English like subtitles, because you're picking up so much. Yeah, I don't know. I might change my mind on that, but you can always go back and watch it on DVD with English subtitles. But like,
exactly,
just being able to like experience it and like see what you can pick up from human interaction or human body language.
Yeah,
that was really fun.
Yeah, there were a lot of things I would have done that I wish I would have done in Germany. Actually, I would have drank more German beer. I think I have a greater appreciation for it now. And like, I would have gotten a haircut too, because I thought that was brilliant. I don't know for sure, but I think I would have done the nude beach myself. I don't know if that's if I really mean that or not, but it was so like, it wasn't about like hotties walking around, and it was just such a like crazy thing to see in the middle of a city. But then also castles. We didn't do any castles I don't think anywhere we went.
Yeah.
And I would love, there's that
would have
famous castle in Germany that is really the inspiration for the Disney castle. And I would love to go to that someday. So, yeah.
I would have loved to, like, just thinking Germany as a whole, not any particular city. Just us being German, I would love to have like done a little bit more in-depth ancestry research. I mean, it's always been like this ongoing process with like every family member we have that's interested in ancestry. But I would love to have visited, like found some actual family over there and got to visit, or even like anything, whether it was a city. I would like to have gone to a city or a region where like, hey, our family grew, like our person that came over, our 10th whatever generation guy, he came from this region. Like, it used to be called something else maybe, but this is where it was. That would be, I mean, I probably have to put that even above watching a movie. If I was going back to Germany.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like that. That's awesome. Well, Jess, any last words about Germany before we move on to Austria?
Auf Wiedersehen. That's all I got.
Auf Wiedersehen. Which also is a really great, doesn't Auf Wiedersehen mean I'll see you again?
Something like that.
It's like see you later.
Goodbye.
It's not necessarily goodbye.
Yeah.
So
then that's perfect for this.
Yeah, I know. It's perfect because we will see you guys in Austria in the next episode. So Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
So tell us about the street food that you guys are eating.
Yeah, so those were actually kebabs, not gyros.
Okay.
But they do look similar. It's just that the name that they used is a little different there. So no, it's not kebabs on a stick like you think of. But it is spelled that way actually. So that's oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so good. But it is basically a gyro.
So how adventurous should someone be with food that they don't really know what it is, that they don't really know how it tastes, like how, because you like trying a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm a lot more picky about food.
Yeah.
So like, would you just recommend like, hey, you're there, you got to do it?
Well, I would kind of throw that question back at you. I think a lot of our listeners are like me and a lot are like you. So for me, I would say you got to do it. Like I would always, always, always just say, what do you recommend? And go with that. Unless it's the most expensive item on the menu, which you have pointed out some waiters will like they'll like to recommend the most expensive thing on the menu, but some of them don't. Some of them are sincerely going to tell you what their favorite is. I would also recommend that you eat it in whatever way is the best cultural experience. So whatever's normal, whatever's customary, and just
However
ask for
they do
that.
it.
Yeah. How do you do it? I don't know. You tell me. Like, should I eat this fish whole and like let it slide down my throat, or should I have it fried and, you know, opened up on a sandwich? You know, there are different ways of eating the same food. And so I would just ask, like, you know, how is it that they do it there? Because it is very much a experience. Love it.
Another thing that you guys did, concentration camps.
Yeah.
So this is an example of dark tourism, right? So a lot of people, when you think of like going somewhere, you're on vacation, you're on a trip, you're thinking of like, I want to go see beautiful things or see stuff that makes me happy, have fun experiences. You know, a lot of people, when they think vacation, they like Disneyland comes to mind.
Right.
But this is a very different experience. It's somber, like it's more reverent. So what would you say to someone who is considering, should I go in for more dark tourism like this?
That's a really good question. You're actually the first person who has mentioned dark tourism to me, so I haven't really thought about it through that lens. I think I view it as it is tourism, you know, and it is the history of what happened. So I don't really think about whether or not it's dark so much, but I would say to embrace it, because most of it, if it's dark, it's a dark part of history, but it is history and it is real and it did happen, and you have an opportunity to honor the people who died there, or honor the situation and the progress that has been made since then. And just for example, just going to a concentration camp, you are validating that happened, and that it was real, and you're reading about real people and seeing real pictures and real stories and real gas chambers. And my mom, we grew up, and she taught us a lot about, now that I think about it, she taught us a lot about dark history, a lot about the Holocaust, a lot about the Titanic, some of the huge things that happened that were terribly traumatic. And so I think that's kind of where I get it too. So thanks, Mom.
So those kinds of things, like those histories and events that weren't pleasant, can still have an impact on you. And while that may not be like a fun, happy impact, it's still growth, and it's still broadening who you are and what you know in your experience.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes we have to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations to grow, right?
Right.
And so this is just another example of some of those uncomfortable situations. Just like you would put yourself in a situation where you don't know the language, or you don't know how to order from the menu, and you don't recognize any of the food they put on your plate. It's growth. And it's an experience. So.
Tell us a little bit about the park that you visited in Munich. I think everyone would like to hear just a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that was the English Gardens, and it is just really cool. It's a lot like Central Park in New York. So imagine a lot of people hanging out. There was indeed, I would say, I say nude beach. It was more like a nude lawn that you could lay out on the grass without having to wear anything and sunbathe. And there was, in the same park, you could go a little bit further, and there's beautiful swans on the river, and then go up a little bit further, and then you'd see all kinds of teenage boys surfing on the waves that were coming down through the river, and just never-ending surfing. It was just really, really cool, and it was just overall really pleasant. We were there obviously in May, and the weather was just unbelievable, and we just literally laid around on the grass and just hung out, and it was great. It was so great. I would definitely go back and go there, and maybe I would even do some nude sunbathing. I don't know. Depends on how I'm looking. Although it's not just for lookers, clearly, from what we learned. But, yeah.
I see. I have to admit, like, every time I hear you guys talk about that park in Munich, it makes me really want to go.
Yeah.
And just see it for myself, see the surfing, like the whole deal just sounds really cool.
Yeah, I can only imagine it's gotten even better too. There's probably food trucks everywhere now and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah.
So what about Berlin? You guys talk in this about how like you saw these two cities in Germany and you had this great experience in Munich and you didn't really care for Berlin as much. So what was it about Berlin that didn't really appeal to you?
Yeah, that is a really great question. It was, it definitely felt more urban. People didn't seem as friendly, and they were just maybe more serious kind of people. And in Munich, I just remember as soon as we arrived, like the person at the hostel was just super friendly, doing anything they could to accommodate us, and it felt. It probably also helped that we arrived after a good night's rest and it was in the daylight. We felt it was super convenient to get from the train station to the hostel. So all of those are adding to great experiences, right? Whereas in Berlin, our first taste of Berlin was a horrible day of travel that led up to a really late night getting through the ghetto of Berlin and trying to make your way, to where you need to lay your head down at night. And so I think sometimes, it's just stuff like that ends up playing a role in the vibes that you get from a city.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that draws us to a close for this episode of the Travel FOMO podcast. Have you ever discovered something unexpected on your travels? If you have, we want to know about it. Post some pictures on social media and tag us. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, YouTube. That's also where we will be sharing the videos and photos from our adventures. You can also learn more about us at travelfomopodcast.com.
That's right. And next week, my sister and I are going to talk about our trip to Austria, home of the Sound of Music. And that's when we started discovering the perks of doing activities on our own. So we kind of ventured off away from each other. So, yeah.
Very interesting. Can't wait to hear about it. If you've enjoyed this podcast, help others find us. You can do that by taking time to rate, review, and subscribe to the Travel FOMO podcast from wherever you're listening.
Life is short.
Wander well.